I didn't set the bar high enough, Dano.
What do you mean?
Free agency started in baseball rather than say, you know what? I'd really like to win the Powerball.
Okay.
Really like to win the Powerball.
It would be nice.
Omega Williams would be fine. Rolling cash. I didn't ask.
It all helps.
I didn't ask for any of that.
No.
All I asked for was
Pete Alonso.
Well, he was my original choice, but we knew that one was out of the question because you figured Pete was going to get big money.
Kyle Tucker.
And I didn't even go there. But remember, we were going to do the Let's Recruit Pete Alonso campaign?
Yes. Yeah.
And we thought it was such a futile thing, we stopped it after like 2 tries.
Well, that's actually partially because the Orioles pounced really early on Pete Alonso.
They really did, yeah. We didn't even have time to get it going.
Didn't have time to date.
But then I said, and you were right there along with me, we're like, hey, Rhys Hoskins isn't going to cost you a whole lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
And though he's injured now, he has a history of producing, and you could get him cheap, and you need right-handed hitting.
Mm-hmm.
And we just kept saying and kept saying and kept saying, Rhys Hoskins. Rhys Hoskins.
It's right there.
Rhys Hoskins.
Go get him.
And guess what?
Yes?
The Guardians did.
Yeah, baby.
Isn't that fabulous?
It's a beautiful thing.
That's fabulous.
It's a beautiful thing.
Here's
it's what you want.
Let's be honest here. He has to go in. He has to show that he's healthy, and he has to win a spot. But this is a guy who the Brewers did not pick up his option for $18 million. He had made, $17 million? Mm-hmm. Guardians are getting him for $1.5 million.
Yep.
There's got to be incentives in there, I would think. But you have a motivated baseball player who needs to show that he can still do it, was doing it when he was healthy.
Yeah, he was really good in the first half of the season for the Brewers.
That's the thing I think that you have to remember here. When he was healthy, he was playing really well. You could say, well, he's 33 years old. He's getting up there. Well, he's not as old as Jose Ramirez. They just gave Jose a contract. So it's not like Rhys is an old guy. He's turning 32 in March, or 33 in March. And he's got a track record of productivity that this team sorely needs, especially out of a right-handed bat. He's a first baseman, designated hitter, and it screams to me, Dan, okay, Manzardo's at first today. Now Manzardo's a DH. And Hoskins is at first base, and then Hoskins is a DH. I would hope that they both stay healthy and both get 500 at-bats this year. I think that would be a really good thing. Hoskins, Manzardo, Jose in the middle of the lineup, go hit the ball.
I want you to be right. I want that to be exactly what happens. You just throw those guys out there, and you just let all of them hit. I partially wonder if they're going to put Hoskins in a platoon.
We'll see. Platoon with what?
Well, C.J. Kafis would be the one you'd circle.
At DH?
Yeah, maybe DH. Maybe you play one at first base and then one plays right field, and it turns into a multi-position platoon.
Hoskins has played the outfield, but not a ton of it. He's played left field mainly.
You probably don't want to do that. That's not ideal. Rhys Hoskins can hit the cover off the ball. He walks, and he's an A-plus teammate. And he's a guy with
you hear great things about him as a teammate, so that screams Stephen Vogt type of player.
And he is a guy who has an OPS in his career over 720. And you don't have many of those guys. In fact, last year you had 2. And mind you, that 720 number I keep throwing out, yes, we heard it a lot when it came to spins, when it came to snowboarding and skiing and all of that fun stuff in the Olympics. That's league average as a hitter.
Yeah.
You had 2. Now you have 3. If anyone has a problem with this signing, I don't know what to tell you.
I don't know how you could have a problem with this signing because it's not even costing you any money.
Right. So
in seasons, and he's played 8 seasons, he's had some injury issues. I'll explain those in a second. But he's played at least 107 games in 5 of his 8 seasons, at least 107 in 5 seasons. In those 5 seasons, he averaged 29 home runs and 82 runs batted in. I did the math. Now, his injury issues are real, but they're not chronic. And by that, I mean it's not as if the guy has like a bad elbow all the time or he's always got calf injuries or always has a hammy. He was out 2 months last season, and he was playing really well. What happened was he made a tag play at first base, had to come off the bag and tag the guy, and the guy jammed his thumb, and he had a UCL tear or sprain in his left thumb. So he's out. When he was out, Andrew Vaughn came up, hit like crazy from Milwaukee.
In a swing.
And Pat Murphy has said, hey, we're going to play the hot guy. Well, Andrew Vaughn was the hot guy. And Jake Bowers, former Indian, was there as well. So Hoskins was not on their postseason roster.
But was in the dugout throughout the entire run.
Going nuts
and
as a great teammate.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And was there throughout the entire thing. They loved him in Milwaukee. It's just a similar situation the Guardians find themselves in, which is they lost their local TV revenue. They don't have the ability to turn around and pick up that option, nor do they kind of want to because Andrew Vaughn gave them exactly what they wanted after they fixed the swing.
At a fraction of the price.
Exactly.
In 2023, in spring training, late in spring training, Hoskins tore his ACL. So he missed the entire 2023 season. Mm-hmm. Those aren't chronic injuries. That's a big injury. You're hurt. And he did it while he was out on the field, playing at first base. And then he tore the UCL in his left elbow, and he's a right-handed thrower. Mm-hmm. So he tore the UCL in his opposite, not throwing arm, in a collision at first base. So his two big injuries happened in collisions at first base, and the other happened while playing first base. So he missed the end of the 2020 season and then part of 2021. If he's healthy, then he's going to hit. I mean, that's what he's done in his career.
Will tell you.
If he is healthy, he hits.
And you're not making a major investment, and you're not setting back your gargantuan youth movement that you have going as well, or putting up any kind of roadblocks of anyone else that you would be interested in watching play baseball for this team at those positions. Kyle Manzardo's still going to get his 500 at-bats. Fantastic.
Yes, he is. Kyle's going to get them.
CJ Kafis is probably going to find his way to 300 to 350 at-bats, if not more if he catches fire. Fantastic. This only adds in one more guy into this lineup, if he makes the ball club out of spring training, that can, A, hit the ball hard, B, draw walks, and C, have a leadership role inside of that locker room. And it means less David Fry, which we all love David Fry as a human being. He's a delight.
I was just going to bring up David.
But I don't thoroughly enjoy watching him play baseball. And I know some of it came back to the fact that, well, he had the torn UCL last year. He had a DH. He couldn't be able to play the field and be as valuable as he was as a third catcher. And that's fine. I'll listen to that argument, but I've watched him hit enough to know that this isn't going to improve a whole bunch.
He had the really, really great start 2 years ago and made the All-Star team, but didn't really follow it up in the second half and had the injury last year and everything else. And that's the best stretch of hitting that David has done in his career. And again, good player, good teammate, everything else. If you were counting on David to be your right-handed DH, you were doing it with your fingers crossed because he just doesn't have a great track record of being a big-time productive hitter. And, again, as you said, good guy, extremely versatile. We'll see where his throwing arm is. Could he help you at catcher? Maybe. You're going to have a limited number of bench spots.
Yep.
And Rhys Hoskins is not taking one of them. He will be, I would think, in the starting lineup. What does that do?
Please give him 500 at-bats.
Well, it takes the at-bats away from David Fry completely. I mean, that's where most of those come from. And then if you look around, let's just, for the sake of argument right now, put Hoskins just a DH. So you know who's around the infield, unless something changes, and that's Manzardo, Rocchio, Arias, and Jose
Ramirez.
Yeah, Bo Naylor at catcher. Mm-hmm. In the outfield, let's just say some combination of, at least to start somewhere, Stephen Kwan, Chase DeLauter, and George Valera. Now, you got two big question marks there, and they both involve mainly health. Can DeLauter stay healthy? Mm-hmm. If so, you want to give him as many at-bats as you can. And George Valera, I don't think has as long of a look as Chase DeLauter. I think George might have to produce pretty quickly. And if George doesn't, you could see C.J. Kafis out there. There's another guy we're forgetting about, and they brought him back, and I would assume they brought him back for a reason.
Austin Hedges?
That's Nolan Jones. They haven't given up on Nolan Jones, and I thought they would. To be honest, I thought they would.
Nolan Jones, and they can't quit Gabriel Arias. They just can't quit these guys.
There's another guy that we haven't mentioned, Juan Brito. Does Juan Brito hit enough in spring training to make the team?
I mean, we could also throw in the Jonathan Rodriguez, Angel Martinez, CJ Kafis, Daniel Schneemann. All those guys are out there too.
Unfortunately, you just mentioned 4 or 5 guys who you, again, have your fingers crossed on and think, well, okay, and where would you play them? Well, okay, we can play Martinez at second or even at shorter and certainly in the outfield. That's great. And Kafis can play first in the outfield. Only thing for Kafis, now he has 2 guys ahead of him for the exact same spot, really. Although I don't see Hoskins in the outfield too much.
I don't think they'll put Rhys Hoskins in the outfield.
I wouldn't think so, but you never know.
I can't see that.
He's played some left field, but it's been a while. He played some for Philly earlier in his career. But I don't see that. That guy's in my lineup every day.
Yes.
And
please.
Manzardo's in my lineup every day.
Yes, please. And Jose Ramirez is in your lineup every single day.
If the Manzardo and Hoskins are healthy, 150 games each.
Mm-hmm.
You'll give them the occasional day off, but they got to play 150 because that gives you some. It gives you some oomph. It just gives you a little bit of pop. Again, the dude has averaged 29 homers and 82 runs batted in the 5 seasons where he's played at least 107 games. And I explained the injuries to you, and it's not like he chronically has a bad shoulder or something like that. These were big time injuries that happened by colliding with people, basically. Nobody on the team last year, other than Jose Ramirez, hit 29 homers, and nobody drove in 82 runs. And this guy's averaged that over 5 years.
Yeah.
So please be healthy. And Stephen Vogt, please put him on the field and leave him alone.
Yes.
By the way, his splits, lefty-righty, they're pretty comparable.
Yep.
His batting average, OPS, down a little bit against right-handed pitching. But again, it's the major leagues. You're going to see mostly right-handed pitching. There are lefties, and he's done a little better against lefties. Yeah. But he's hit right-handers real well.
It's not drastic enough that you're taking a bath by throwing him out there against righties.
No, I wouldn't even think you would even consider platooning him based on his past of hitting right-handed pitching and hitting it well.
This is a great move. It's the reason why we've been screaming this is the move that you need to make for 3 months. This is a great move. This is a perfect move. It's a perfect Guardians move. Just put him out there and let him go, and then start making decisions at other positions so that you can set up a position where Kyle Manzardo gets 500 plate appearances, Rhys Hoskins gets 500 plate appearances, Jose Ramirez gets 500 plate appearances, and let's go. And everywhere else you can figure out as you go, but at least those 3 guys need to be out there for that amount of time.
Folks, it seems like you have a middle of the batting order right now. You got guys you can hit 3, 4, and 5. You didn't have that last year. Can you give the Guardians credit for making what looks like an absolutely no-brainer move? I certainly can, and we have. 216-474-0092. It's